Atop the Himalayas, highest mountain ranges of the world, at 14,200 feet in Himachal Pradesh, India, lies a sky-soaring settlement, very much attached to its roots, the village of Kibber. Nestled in the Spiti Valley, the most unfriendly of terrain, where even the grass thinks twice before deepening its roots, lies this tiny speck of endurance and bravery of the human spirit. Ice-melting glaciers continue to shape this land as they embark on their long journey to the sea. At first glance, the village throws so many shades of brown at the eye that it's impossible to absorb them all. Kibber has a population count of around 400 people, forming a closely knit community, sharing warmth and resources. The high altitude and geographical location of Kibber results in high wind velocities and cold winters in the region. In Kibber, the sense of time and day has a new meaning. The summer comprises of their days, full of energy, outdoors, while the winters tuck them into their houses for the frosty nights that await. The history of the region unfolds dramatically. The inhabitants of Kibber once lived on the low-lying, more hospitable parts of the Spiti Valley. But constant attacks by Mongols and raiders made it difficult to survive in a region of limited resources. Thus, abiding by their strategy, flight rather than fight, they moved and resettled in the region that we called Kibber. Setting on a higher altitude region didn't solve their problems completely. A set of strategic planning of access and streets of the village was yet to be put in place. The people of Kibber used a patch of abrupt depression in the area as their dry moat. This blocked the settlement from the south, and the high altitude terrain guarded them from the north. Restricting entries and strategic monitoring protected them from human attacks. But now, they needed mechanisms to protect them from the attacks of nature. Buildings faced the south sun and were staggered such that each of them get their share of solar heat to keep warm. Orientation and shape of buildings is much dependent upon the prevailing wind directions, as not much flora is available to act as buffer. Tracing the land, its lines, its texture, its color, the cattle roams, rolls and rejoices the bounties of it. Like a child trying to cleanse his skin with the mud as its natural sanitizer, playing fearlessly and aimlessly, just for the joy of it. Animals and humans share such a deep symbiotic relation on this land that the survival of one without the other is unimaginable. Climbing uneasy slopes, sustaining harsh climate and winds, they look past the dreads of the sight and lay the foundations for optimism in the world. Every glance at the site brings back a deep, scintillating memory of colorful flags dancing in the music of the wind, proclaiming the essence of the village, the religion of Buddhism. The meditating hymning sounds fill the valley as completely as the oxygen in the air. 21 stupas, 2 temples, and a memorial dot the village.
5 minutes in Dode. Nonie로 로직도 시행하네로 Kibber Kibber you nang tangbi mumbai do Kibber you then da you SNS 공부 도쇼 공지랑 입자 매춘 입자 차대는 유인도 나이로 구레스탄 시절바 망고용도 고 이군데 망고 깨다보지 대니네 라다글라 이 람가 저가 트레킹 람가 시절자가 대니 유다 그냥 미그 로타 시절바 망고용도 ngal Kibber di panside gangduru tongba je guji hamba to de nyambo kirungja menang chugun che chajowa dene kule jejilo Kibber yu cheru hamba jepta mija dene mija sanal samba je chang je dene samba chang dene arak dene jatang saja koljilo za ngal dal dese mije shema pi metang sena ngal yiru bijila mega tene mija metoji parji dega tene samba sa mangche samba khajangal de dal se yongoma samba khajang sa ir da yul nang cheno kudedo tene da ji se mija topchara odeja dan de rang dal dang na changma sa
The agrarian community of Kibber is largely a self-sufficient entity. They cultivate and nurture farmlands during the summer months and store their produce for the long winters. Like most agrarian communities, farming in Kibber is also a family event, wherein the elders put in their expertise and the kids their energy into what seems to be the single most important task at hand. Due to this vast amount of time and enthusiasm spent on farming, it also becomes the major congregation space of the village. Working as a community out in the sun for resource accumulation for the village is more than enough incentive for people to talk and mingle. Another congregation space is the undesired green field of the village school. This patch of green is the one chosen for panchayats and talks, then the designated panchayat building located adjacent to it. As sunflowers reaching out to their source of heat and warmth, the people naturally chose whatever sunlit open space they find as their sit-out space. As the winters are long and harsh, the thermally insulated dwelling is the most crucial of all construction activities. The dwellings are two-storied mud buildings with functions and usages clearly segregating the two floors into summer and winter usages. The ground floor is for the cattle and its fodder. The cozy space of warmth dissipating from the animals is shared by the human inhabitants as they cuddle together in a symbiotic relation to sustain the cold winters. This alters the use of space over time. The first floor of the house is the main living space comprising the kitchen, dining and sleeping areas. This floor, unlike the ground floor that has essentially no windows, has small windows providing for light and ventilation. Additionally, there is a courtyard on the first floor, as the floor is mainly used during the summer. Like every other thing in life, architecture is rooted in the culture of the place and its people. Kibber has a traditional practice that shapes family organization and thus the architecture and space. After marrying the son, his new wife and his parents build a new home and resettle, leaving the old one behind as an obsolete building used only for storage purposes. They continue living in this new family haven till the son fathers a child. At this point in the family history, the parents of the son go back to their old house. This cyclic tradition goes on and is attributed to the expansion and architectural growth of Kibber. It's customary for the second child of the house to leave the village and service the monastery. This prohibits division of farming land and the population augmentation. Time slows, flows, stalls and stops, gives you a window of opportunity to take in as much amazement and beauty as your eyes can hold. In comparison, the world is spinning so fast that Earth itself overlooks the frozen time zones that this region breathes. It's like the blooming of a flower. Its space can't be seen, but only felt, emotionally, spiritually, and humanly.